My mic turned up. Let me get my mic turned up. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Let me know you're there in the comments. Already I can see my buddy Indy all the way from Australia. He's Indian, but he's from Australia, mate. So good to see him in there. Mr. Harvey, Ms. Powell, Gemma Glover. How are we all? Good morning. Welcome to episode 12 of A Cuppa with Tea. And today I'm celebrating with a cup of water because once again I was too rushed to put a tea bag in and wait for it and then put the milk in. So let me know what you're having a little sip of this morning, whether it's Chris Harvey with his, I reckon Chris Harvey's probably got some chamomile or some Earl Grey. And yeah, so let me know how you're doing. And this, like I said, this morning we're going to talk about Dream Studio, which was another shoot that I've done in, guess what, Uganda. And it's just another one of the shoots that I've done with the children. So each year that I go, I really enjoy seeing all the kids and the kids around all the time, and they're having a lot of fun. And I want to try and harness a little bit of that fun in my photography and sort of get them involved in something so they're all part of something together. So you saw a quick flick through of the very, very short version of the video just then. But what we're going to do is we're going to whiz into the presentation, and then I'm going to talk you through how it all came together. So if this works, then magic. Ooh. Look at that, I'm here. This is strange because everything's backwards. But the Dream Studio came around in 2019. So you might have heard me talk about the Borehole before, which was another shoot that I've done, quite a big shoot. And that was formed in 2017, shot in 2018. And then I returned with the final picture and did a small exhibition and showed all of these children that were part of the Borehole. I showed them the much larger image in an exhibition. And so the following week from doing that exhibition and showing them that picture, I thought, right, let's do something again. I took some inspiration from one of my favorite photographers, Joey L, and he'd just done a shoot and he'd used banana leaves as a background, as a backdrop to his studio. So essentially he built a studio out of banana leaves, and I thought, right, I am going to do that because that looks cool. And I wasn't as perfectionist about it because I wanted the kids to get involved. So let me move this out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. So this is Dream Studio. It's in Mama Maganda's garden. And on the left you have Zuba in the green and red shorts, and sitting down in the pink shirt is Marishadi. And I live with Marishadi, and Zuba is my neighbour. And so I talked to them about this idea. So we'd done the Borehole exhibition. I wanted to get all the kids back for another shoot a year on. And so that was underway. We were letting them know when we needed them. So the morning of the Dream Studio shoot, I asked the boys if they would build me a studio, and it was a job, so I was paying them. So I needed them to invoice me properly for the work. But I said, we need it over on that hedge, built out of banana leaves, and it needs to be about this tall and about this wide, and have some stuff on the floor. So I didn't say anything else. I didn't tell them I just wanted green leaves. I wanted fresh leaves. I didn't tell them anything else. So they went about creating this backdrop for this studio. And it was, I saw them working on it in the morning and through the day, and it didn't take them very long. But they were using the knife to chop up all the banana leaves, and all it did was add great texture. They put in some of the brown leaves as well, and so it was texture, there was colour, there was everything we needed. And so it was brilliant. And by the time it came around to 4 or 5 in the afternoon, which is when the sun was setting, so if you imagine looking at that picture, you're looking at the screen. Over behind your left shoulder is where the sun is going to set. So that light is going to come through there across the top of the hedge and then land right in on that spot. So I knew what the light was hopefully going to do if there was no clouds, and where I wanted everyone to be for their portraits. And the idea was simply to get the kids in for another shoot. And I think Dream Studio came around because I wanted a little bit of extra. I wanted some information from the children rather than just another image of them. I wanted to find out a little bit about what their dream was. And, you know, a lot of them are very young. Some of them are 14, 15, 16. And so I was interested to see what their dream was. So it was quite simple. Come in, have your picture taken, let us know what your dream is. Then we've got your name, your age, and your dream. So simple, very, very basic, but quite powerful, to be honest, because you never know which direction these kids are going to go in life. And maybe if they're 8 years old now and they've said, oh, I want to be a doctor, and in 10, 20 years' time, they are a doctor, and you reconnect, then that picture is worth, it's so valuable anyway, but it's worth a lot more because of the story. So this is the studio in natural light. So this is the sunlight coming across from the left-hand side, raking across the leaves. And then this is young Daniel. He was the first one in. He was loitering around, so got him in there. And this is the first image with the flash and Daniel standing in there. So with the sun coming in from the left-hand side of the frame, as you look at the picture, the flash is in on the right-hand side to try and balance it a little bit. And the difficulty with this shoot was actually that sunlight was going to change all the time. It was going to get lower and lower and lower, and the power was going to reduce. So all the way through the shoot, things were going to change. So that's what me as a photographer, I have to be thinking about all the time. So in these next few pictures, you're going to see, you know, before the flash and then after the flash, just so you can see the big difference and why I take the flash and why it's, you know, really important. So here's Daniel again. So you see the picture on the left is completely natural light. There's no flash. You see there's one highlight on his head, on the dome of his head. You can see that light, and that is the sun bouncing onto his head. And on the right side, you can see the shadow, and there's quite a lot of shadows. So I'm looking at that, and my main aim here is to try and get a balanced light with my settings to protect all of the highlights within the picture. And then the job of the flash is to balance and light the other side. So if anything, my key light, my most important light, is my flash, because I can control that. And then the sun is the ambient light that just is there, and it's almost balancing the picture. Before I go too much further, I haven't edited too many of these pictures. There's a couple that I have edited that you will see, but most of these are fairly natural from what's come out of the camera. So that's Daniel on the left in ambient light, and Daniel on the right in using the flash. So this young lady here, I do have all the names written down, and you'll see them all in a minute, but individually I don't know all of the names off the top of my head. I wish I did all the time, but I don't. So again, on the left, natural light. On the right, adding in the flash, and you can see the impact the flash has. It adds, you know, contrast, adds clarity, and it also brings out the skin tones and the human from the picture. If I was to try and shoot that picture on the left with just natural light and balance everything the same, I would need to raise the exposure on the person, which would mean the background would be crazy too bright. So by using the flash, I can control how I want the pictures to look. And when we started, I got Daniel, and he was just standing there, and he looked like a bit of a plum. So we got a jerry can, and the kids were able to sit there, and that enabled me to keep them all in the same space, so I could have my camera on the tripod. It allowed them to sit down so they're perhaps a bit more comfortable, and I was able to direct their body towards the light. So I'd say, sit on the jerry can, put your knees that way, and immediately their body was facing the light. And when they look round towards me, it gives them a bit of shape, rather than standing there not really knowing what to do. And you know, one guy's 5'7", the other guy's 3'2". I've got to constantly be moving around. So another example of the flash versus non-flash. I won't get too much into that, but this is generally the setup. So that is that's the Profoto B2, and it's just so simple, just about 45 degrees off to the front, a little bit higher, and a soft box on the front to allow the light to be a little bit softer on the person sitting there. So as we were moving forward, this is Margaret, and she rocks up with these little flowers in her hair, looking cute, and just a beautiful young girl, and so sweet. She couldn't really get up onto the jerry can, but she was very smiley for the camera. And then just off to one side, her friends were sort of having a laugh at her, and you know, you just always got to be ready to capture the little moments. So sometimes I'm on the tripod, sometimes I'm not, because I can't move quick enough with the camera attached to the tripod to switch everything up and change the framing. So I was obviously handheld for the last picture, and then that enabled me to shoot this landscape very quickly. This is one of my favourite pictures. This is a behind the scenes shot, and I'll show you something now. You might be able to see it. I'll show you properly in a minute, but you'll see it on the little screen to the right. These are the original pictures from that shoot, and on the back I have the names. And so this little lady here is called Herin. And so Herin was wearing one of the most beautiful dresses of the day, and it just worked really well as a behind the scenes shot. But also she was having a good laugh and really enjoying the shoot, and this is the main portrait of her. And it's almost like it's almost like a Spanish kind of flamenco type dress. And I've never seen one of the children wear such an amazing dress. They were always wearing great clothes, but this was like she was ready for a party, ready to go out. And this is where Dream Studio comes from. Little Mariam, she lives maybe three houses down from where I stay in the village, and she came up to me one day, and I saw her 2 years before, and she could barely talk. And then this year she runs up to me, and she's wearing a big jumper, and it says Dream across the front. And so that's where I got the idea to create Dream Studio, was from Mariam. And every day she'd run up to me, and whether she understood or not, she'd be going, Dream, 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 because that's what I was calling her. But here she is with her frog jumper on. So I'm glad I didn't meet her when she was wearing her frog jumper to start with, because that might have changed the whole shoot completely. Lasoma. So I've photographed Lasoma for 4 years now, and if you've seen anything of Lasoma before, I shot him in 2017 wearing some huge jeans with some banana leaf fibres holding his jeans up for dungarees. And so each year I managed to photograph Lasoma, and this time in the Dream Studio he was wearing a t-shirt and he'd written Pele 10 on the back. So I made sure I got a shot of the details, because they're super important to the story as well. You know, he's a great kid, a very, very confident kid, and so he was happy to chill in front of the camera for a bit. But this is the scene. It's an afternoon in Uganda. We're in Mama Muganda's garden, This is where we play football. This is where we did the postcard shoot that you saw a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, the kids are always welcome to run around in the garden. Just the other side of that hedge is the borehole. And if you walk out and to the right, you go towards the rest of the village and then in towards more of the touristic area. I say that it's more of a bar. They call it the gate. It's where there's lots of little shops and food outlets. And then there's a campsite there as well. And if you go off to the left and then behind you, that's where you walk for 10 minutes and you get down to the River Nile. So that's where we are, in the middle of the village in Uganda. And this was the setup. The kids are going crazy, they're running round, and then you've got the light and the little studio tucked away in the corner. And as we move closer in, you can see Tracy is sitting there, and she's got these red flowers on her hair. So like Margaret turned up and she had the flowers all over her head and tucked behind her ear. Tracy turned up with the same. And so I took a slightly different approach when I was photographing Tracy. I did shoot the standard portrait like I had for all of the guys, but I wanted to get a little bit closer because the you know, again, a beautiful girl, bright eyes, amazing smile. She supported Manchester United, so that was even better. And she created this headdress with these flowers. I don't know what flowers they are. They are red flowers. That's what flowers they are. And she just turned up and confidently wanted her photo taken. So I wanted to change it up. So I created a different lighting style, and that's, you know, always good to be adaptable. And so we created something that essentially is like a clamshell lighting. So you have a light source at the top and a light source at the bottom. Because I only have one light, I can only have the light source at the top, and then I use a reflector, the white side of a reflector, so that light bounces down and it creates like a sandwich of light. And the main reason for that is I can shoot through the middle of it. The power from the top light is obviously going to be harder than the rebounding light from the bottom, so you get a nice balance and still get your shadows. But it was a case of the kids were able to help, so they were all in holding the reflector, and Tracy was just loving life, being the centre of attention. And as you move, oh, I've moved the wrong bit. Let's bring that back. Oh, this is live, folks. Don't worry about it. Oh, come on, mouse. There we go. Click the wrong button, didn't I? Here we go. And this is one of the final images. And so the idea of using that light is it gives me amazing, it doesn't give me, it gives Tracy amazing catch lights in her eyes. So you can see the flash at the very top of her eyes, the brighter light, and then just below that, the reflector has bounced light back up. So you get these two nice catch lights in the eye, which brightens the eyes, because that is the main element of any portrait, is to have that connection. Whether I'm there or not, you're able to connect with that person. Using the flash also increases the contrast on the colours. So the greens are very strong, the reds stand out, and you know, just a beautiful portrait. So I shot quite a few of these, as you saw before, but I shot this one in landscape, always keeping her central, and then I shot portrait as well. So these last two images have been edited more or processed more than the others, but I just think it's just an amazing shot. And it was because she had put that time into that headdress, and I just thought, right, let's switch this up and create an individual image out of the whole shoot. And then you move on to family time. So from left to right, you've got Kareem, and Kareem's got, he helps me out with so many of my shoots, but he's got the best t-shirt, and we don't know why and we don't know what it means, but it says pint-sized church key. Figure that one out. So next to Karim, you've got his brother Zuba, and then their sister Afua on the side. So Afua was actually, she was in charge of writing down everyone's name, their age, and their dream. So she had the most hectic job. I'll show you again in a minute, but this is the book with all the names in, and this is her writing, and it's incredibly neat, much neater than mine, and very organised. So these three got their individual portraits done, and then we did a team picture. And by this point, I knew the flash was running out of juice, so I wanted to get, we got the last few pictures done, and then I actually gave Karim the camera because he wanted to have a go. And although he eventually got a good picture of me, this is the first one that he got. So that is why there is not many brilliant pictures of me in any of these portrait shoots, unless David takes them, because Karim wants to cut my head off. So there you go. And then you've got the last couple of pictures that we managed to get with the flash. At this point, I was shooting. The flash was going off like crazy, and it was like, flash is going to run out. Everyone get in. And that's David in the middle. Through the whole of this, he was filming, and we'll see that film in a minute. But it was amazing to get these pictures in right before the end. And again, there's some of my favourites because people are cutting loose. There's lots of energy in there, and they're just enjoying themselves. And if we slide forward, we'll get to the list of names. And so hopefully you guys will be able to see that a bit clearer than I will. Let me have a look at the picture, because I've got to move loads of screens around. So there we go. I can see it big on my screen now. So the funny thing was, when I got all of these names back and into the book, you might be able to see them a bit clearer in there now as well. That's all the names. So always to carry a journal and get stuff written down. And Afua was doing this, and she'd given everybody a number. So they had a number within the order of their shoot and how they came up. So number 1 was Daniel, and he wanted to be a doctor. Number 10, Mariam, she wanted to be a doctor. So there's lots of doctors, there are lots of pilots, teachers, policewomen, soldiers. Linda wanted to be a hairdresser. Karamu wants to be a soldier. And the thing with number 29, Karim, he actually called his name out as Benzema, Karim Benzema. And I think Benzema is a football player, and he was just trying to trick us there. So Benzema is his fake name. Zuba wants to be a dancer, and Afua, right down at number 31, is wanted to be a lawyer. So I think a lot of the kids heard their friends say what they wanted to be and maybe copied some of that, but whatever. The whole premise of it was a little bit of fun, and I'm sure some of these guys will hopefully achieve their goals, but you can never be too sure. So if I go back to this main screen, drop in, welcome back. Let's have a quick check-in on any comments, because I haven't been able to see the Facebook screen whilst we're moving forward. Ola Ambrose is in. Yeah, Chris Harvey, great natural shot. Which picture were you talking about, Chris? Because I wasn't able to see which one you were commenting at the time. But yeah, Gemma, amazing aspirations that, they know what they want to be. The road is very tough for them to get to where they want to be, but it's cool, and it's nice that in 10 years' time I might go back and see them actually starting to go through school and fulfilling what they want to do. But as we all know, day to day we all change what we want to do based on our lives or where we're going. So let me show you these. So these are oh dear, this is going to be good. These are the original pictures, the original prints from this shoot that I got printed in Uganda. I came back, went to Wilkinson's, bought a dust collecting frame. Ugh, all I do is dust these things. But on the back, I've got the names of all the people that are on this within this frame. So I've got 1, 2, 3 frames with all of these pictures in. So for me, it's really important that I give these prints back. So every kid again got their prints before I left, and I printed 2 sets for the very reason that I didn't know everybody's name. And so the next video, it's about 1.5 minutes long, and it shows you where we got the print done. And one evening about 9 o'clock, I went round to Kareem Zuber and Afwa's house, and we sat there and we went through these notes. And because each one had a number down the side, I just put the number on the back of the prints that I made. They kept 1 set and we gave them out. I kept the other set, and then I've got them in the frame. But it allowed me to match up these names with the face. Always handy when you're taking pictures of lots of people at a time. So check out this little. But right now, we are in a print lab, about to get some pictures from the Dream Studio and a few other pictures printed and give them back. Zuba and Mushidi were responsible for making the studio, the Dream Studio. So I said I'm not paying Zuba until he writes me an invoice. So I think that's what he's doing just now. Oh. If we look at these, Afra, you did these names, didn't you?
Tracy, Kauma Tracy.
Tracy, so Tule is a nickname. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy. But I like true.
So if I just put Tracy, oh, so she is number 4. So 4 is already there. So number 4. Which number? Number 25. Come on, it's got to be professional.
Yay! The power is back.
All right. So only the Ugandans will know what Kareem said to get the light out of his face. So Ambrose, David, if you're in the comments, let us know exactly what he said, but I'm sure it was funny. But yeah, so that's us at Kareem and Zuber and Afwa's house, and we were just making sure that we had all the pictures correctly, all the names were matched up, so that when I got home, I would be able to put a face to the name. And I'm sorry I haven't done it for all of the pictures today, but time moved on this morning and I didn't get that quite done in time. But the whole process was brilliant. Again, it's lots of teamwork, and the kids that live around me helped out massively, and it was just, again, a lot of fun. And that's what a lot of these photo shoots are. It's getting people together, bringing the community together, forging and building new relationships and trust. And when the kids had done the big shoot with the Borehole, I thought it was important to carry on and get another shoot. And then again, it's a different way to document how they're growing. And then last year, or earlier this year, we obviously did the postcard project, which was another set of portraits. So for 3 years, I've got not all the same kids, but 3 years worth of 3 years worth of portraits. But the best thing about that little video was we did all of it with the power off, and then when the power comes on, it's just such a moment because you are completely there in the dark. There's no power, no nothing. And so when the power comes back on, it's a huge event. But like I said at the beginning, I did hire Zuba and Marishadi to build the studio, and so he did give me an invoice, and I do have a picture of that invoice somewhere, but it was basically banana leaves, sticks, and labour, and it was about 10,000 shillings each, a couple of quid each, but it was great, and I think he really enjoyed doing the invoice. But just looking down in the comments, Ambrose said, they were saying, just reduce the flashing light in my eyes. They were just acting funny. So yeah, nothing too special, but I think that's pretty much it as we move forward. But this is the final film. I will come back quickly afterwards and say cheerio, but I'm not involved with this film. You won't see me in the corner, but enjoy the next few minutes of Dream Studio, and leave your comments as you go along, because I'll be reading them.
Five? Sakura? Yeah.
What is their dream? Sound good? See what the answers are and then just write them in there. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, Oh, you cut off my head. Cuts off my head.
Get it in. Look back, David.
Oh, yeah,
Why?
All right, so besides everything, I love two things about that video, and you may or may not have spotted them. But the first one was when Lillian was pulling her friend through the garden, and then her friend pulled her back, and that's playtime. And then right towards the end, you've got Karim taking the pictures, and then Lusoma using the tripod and pretending to take pictures as if he was a photographer. And they were both professional. They were both moving the kids out of the way. Movayo, movayo. And that means get out of the way or I'll crunch you. So it was brilliant. A great way to finish the shoot. And, you know, as always, such a huge thank you to David for filming and capturing all that behind the scenes footage, because it's invaluable to what we do as a team, and it's amazing to be able to share all of those videos with you, because it's very difficult just talking through a slideshow and then not being able to show you the actual moment we were doing all this. So my whole life I've tried to film all of the fun stuff that I do, because it leads to me being able to edit it, and that's fun for me, and then sharing it is another evolution of that. And through that process I'm learning, and then when it comes to the next time, I implement what I've learned in on the journey, really. And that's exactly what I'm doing with all of these lives, and I hope they're interesting to you, and I hope they are not only a little bit of inspiration, but also a few technical snippets in there to do with photography. But my photography is much bigger than the camera, and not anyone with the camera would be able to go in and do what I do. So that's why I feel like it's really important to share those, and it's great for me. And like I said, hopefully you guys enjoy it. But that's pretty much it for today. It is not so bad weather outside, not the best, but if anyone's got any questions, fire them into the comments now, and I will hang around for a wee bit longer to answer some. But what's everyone doing today? I think I'm going to have to go outside. I had 1 hour outside yesterday, and I don't think that was enough. But I'm trying to think of what I should do for next week. I've talked about the borehole quite a lot, and I haven't done a live session talking about the borehole. So it might be that that's where I go, and it's almost like I've moved backwards from the Sleepwell project to the postcards to the Dream Studio back to the borehole, so back to where it kind of came from, and these images it all evolved from. Muganda's in. Muganda is in the house, and you've just been watching Dream Studio from Muganda's mum's house. So he's just commented in the things, studio at Mama Muganda's. Yeah, boy. So amazing that these mates and these boys and girls from Uganda can be here to comment as we're doing these live. It's a huge extra way that we can all connect, and it brings such a big heart to everything that I do, that they are still part of it, even when I'm there. But when we come back, they're still a part of putting in all the comments. So again, a lot of these projects wouldn't happen without being able to stay at Muganda's mum's house and feel safe and secure and free to do all of the projects that we create together. So big up Muganda, miss you, buddy, and we'll catch up soon. But for now, everyone enjoy your day, and I'll leave you with a couple of pictures, and then I will sign off. But feel free to put anything else in the comments, and we'll catch up soon, and then I'll be in comms about what we're going to talk about next week. All right, have a great day.